Everybody's seen those neighborhood watch street signs, right? Neighbors watching out for neighbors is how we can help keep our community safe and in the know-how about things as sweet as finding a lost dog or banding together over a demon.
Haunting your sleep home and or childhood doll.
Well, get this. The Neighborhood Watch is now an app on your phone. The app's called Neighbors, and it's by Ring. It's the company behind those video doorbells and security cameras. With the Neighbors app, you receive real-time crime and safety alerts from your neighbors. And it's free. Don't even need to own a Ring device. I will say the app was super helpful for me last weekend. I had some friends come over to just move some stuff for me when I wasn't there. And I was able to let my neighbors know that no, I wasn't being robbed. That's just some friends who were helping me get rid of some junk I didn't need anymore. So if you want to see what's going on in your neighborhood, download the free Neighbors app today. Go to ring.com/scary to download from the Apple or Android app stores. That's ring.com/scary.
Hey, I'm Markia. Want to hear something scary? The Midnight News. The following story is inspired by Charlotte. My neighborhood had always felt very safe. Our neighbors knew each other, and the only crimes ever reported were things like stolen bikes or car break-ins, and those were rare. As I walked home from school that day, it never crossed my mind that anything bad could happen. I got home and started my homework at the kitchen table while my mom was making dinner. The local news was on, which was perfect for background noise, because the news in our town was always boring. But today, the newscasters caught my ear. A man known for committing a spree of brutal killings in our town 3 decades ago had just escaped from prison. I'd heard his name before, the Grim Gouger. They showed security footage of the escape as they were giving his description. Tall, heavyset, wearing a white mask. They said he was mentally unstable and armed with knives he'd stolen from the kitchen during the escape. And from the bloody shoe tracks he left behind, it looked like he'd already used them. My mom saw the fear on my face just as the newscaster started to tell how the Grim Gouger got his name. She turned off the TV. The news loves to scare people, she said. But if you don't see it, it isn't happening. See? My mom went back to cooking. I tried to focus on my homework, but it wasn't easy. The Grim Gouger was loose. That night, my dad was running late, so we started dinner without him. My mom told some pretty funny jokes, and for a moment, everything was fine. We were totally safe. The news really was just about scaring people. But when my dad arrived home, I could tell something was way off. He went straight to my mom and whispered in her ear. She then turned to me and said, "Straight to bed, young lady." I got up from the table, and as I did, I could just make out the slight buzz of a helicopter outside. As I settled in for bed, I could hear the sound of the helicopter grow louder, along with a high-pitched whine of sirens. Meanwhile, downstairs, my parents were frantically checking that all the doors and windows were locked while speaking in hushed tones. "I'll stay up," my dad whispered. My mom agreed to stay up with him. My parents had never acted like this before, ever. This was serious. I grabbed my iPad and logged into the local news. Live camera footage from a helicopter was searching a suburban neighborhood. A huge manhunt was underway. I closed my eyes and repeated my mom's words in my head. "If you don't see it, it isn't happening." I turned off the iPad and pulled up the covers. Another restless hour passed. I just drifted off to sleep when a loud buzzing rattled the whole house and sent my heart racing. I grabbed my iPad and quickly logged back in to find the live footage of the manhunt still streaming. The helicopter spotlight drifted over a 2-story townhouse that looked all too familiar. The Rosens. They lived just 3 houses away. As I watched the Rosens' house all lit up in the spotlight, a man in black clothing darted around the corner out of sight. "Mom? Dad?" I called out, but they were either asleep or they couldn't hear me over that chopper engine which had turned insanely loud. Suddenly, the spotlight swung across my bedroom window with this blinding white light, and that's when I saw our house on live TV. There was our patio, our grill, and the trees tossing wildly under the helicopter's swirling blades. I stared hard at the iPad screen when someone darted off the side of our house. I couldn't believe my eyes. This can't be real, I thought. I turned off the iPad and closed my eyes. And as soon as I did, the helicopter drifted away. My mom was right. She had to be. If you don't see it, it isn't happening. Then a smash of broken glass came from downstairs, followed by the screams of my mom and dad. I ran down the steps, trying to keep my feet quiet, and peeked into the kitchen. There were my mom and dad tied to chairs. Both their eyes were gone, leaving empty sockets, as I realized how the grim gouger got his name. I covered my mouth, but a small cry escaped. The grim gouger turned and looked at me through his white mask.
It's okay. If you don't see it, it isn't happening.
He walked toward me, repeating,
If you don't see it, it isn't happening.